Today we are finishing up our pancake lab. The equipment you will need is a large bowl, your liquid measuring cup, which can be found in your cabinet in your kitchen unit, a spatula to flip the pancakes, a whisk, your 1/4 cup measuring cup, and a griddle or frying pan. Ingredients you need for this lab will be 1 1/4 cup of milk, 3 tablespoons of butter, 1 egg, and your dry mix that you mixed the other day. When measuring liquids, we use something called a liquid measuring cup. You will see that it is glass with a handle and a spout, and then it has your measurements here: 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 1 cup. Ours is only 1 cup, and we need a cup and a quarter of milk for our pancakes. To measure out with your liquid measuring cup, you're going to pour your milk to the 1/4 line first, stopping right at that line. And you want to be, like my camera is, right at eye level. You don't want to be holding up the liquid measuring cup. You want it on a flat surface so that you can make sure that you are measuring exactly 1/4 cup. You would then dump this measurement into your dry ingredients. You're going to start by taking the butter to the microwave and microwaving the butter for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, you'll see the butter is not completely melted, but it is warm enough that it'll begin to melt. You want to give it a little mix with a spoon. Once your butter is fully melted, you are going to set it aside to cool just slightly. At this point, you're going to want to turn on your griddle. You're going to turn your oven to medium-high heat, or your stove to medium-high heat, which, if your stove has numbers, is typically a 6 or a 7. You are then going to place your dry ingredients into the bag. And that 1/4 cup measure of milk that we did goes in. And then you are going to measure your additional 1 cup of milk. Once you've measured your 1 cup of milk, you're going to crack your egg into the measuring cup. So I did the 1/4 first, place it into my dry ingredients. Then I measured my 1 cup, and then I crack my egg into the milk. You are then going to mix that up, breaking the yolk. Until it turns like a light yellow beigey color. Okay, once the milk and the egg are incorporated, you are going to pour that into your batter, and then pour your butter in nice and slow. You want to make sure that your butter is not too hot, or it will cook the egg. Once you have done that, you're going to take your whisk and you're going to whisk up all of your ingredients, making sure that you don't have any dry flour mix. And try to get as many of the lumps out. Now, the baking powder is now reacted with the milk, so you need to move kind of fast. You don't want this to sit out too much, or it'll overreact, and you'll get very thick, fluffy pancakes. You'll start to see some bubbling happening from the reaction. And there we go. We are now going to move over to the griddle. All right, at the griddle, our griddle is nice and warm. When I hover my hand about 2 inches above, I should feel the heat. At this point, we're going to turn our stove down to medium. If you have numbers on your stove, it would be about a 5. You're going to see that our mix started to kind of bubble a little bit. That's the reaction of the baking powder. You're going to take cooking spray, and you are going to lightly spray your pan. Don't soak it, just lightly spray it. And then you're going to take your batter and your 1/4 cup, and you're going to scoop up a nice heaping 1/4. You can wipe the bottom on the bowl if you'd like so you don't get drips, and then pour it on to your griddle. Sometimes if you kind of place them right, you can do 2, but they're a little harder to flip with our size griddle. If you had a bigger griddle, it'd be a lot easier. Now the pancake is starting to cook. The first one is always the hardest because the griddle has to regulate itself. I am going to turn this handle inward because I already keep knocking it. And you're going to see that the pancake is starting to bubble a little bit. I'm smoking quite a little bit. I'm going to turn my stove down to 4, make it a little lower. It's been about a minute and a half, and you will see that the sides of the pancake, the pancake has started to fluff up, and the sides of the pancake have set. You can see nice and clearly they're turning a little bit of brown, and they're starting to dry. You will also see that bubbles are starting to form on the top. This is the gas from the baking powder reaction releasing. And as those bubbles start to pop, you're going to kind of take a look in the bubble and see if the pancake is dry within. So we're getting a nice formation of bubbles here. The outside is going to cook faster than the inside, so you want to make sure you keep an eye. Now, you never walk away from pancakes, you always keep an eye on them. And as we get to this point where our sides are pretty dry and now our center is starting to bubble, I like to pick like a bubble kind of in the center and wait for that one to pop. Sometimes it's kind of like a little game for me. I like to see kind of those bubbles, so I picked this one here. So we'll see. Although I'm looking down inside these bubbles and it's looking a little dry, so we're going to scoop under our pancake and flip. I like to give it a little press, and then you're going to let this side cook for about 1 minute to 2 minutes. Now, the first cook, this side here that I just flipped, is the more important one, because what happens is you're cooking the majority of the pancake from that first side, and then you're just sealing the deal when you flip it over to the other. So you want the pancake to be almost all the way cooked before you flip it. That's why we wait for those bubbles. After about 1 minute, you are going to remove your pancake from the griddle. Here, I'll show you the other side. It looks like that. You're going to remove your pancake from the griddle and place it on a plate. And then you're just going to repeat until you've worked through. Now, you don't need to spray. You only have to spray that first time. I could probably fit 2 on that one. You can make the pancakes any size you like. I like to keep them kind of a little larger than silver dollar. And that is how you are doing your pancake lab. Please go ahead and follow through the Nearpod presentation to map out your plan for Monday or Tuesday.